classes that you're teaching. But the really important part here is link sharing is the thing of the past. I don't have to send links individually to students. I have one homepage that everybody goes to, that it's one link, pencilspaces.com, and all of the links are there and preserved. So I no longer need to worry about emailing students or sending them reminders. Here's the link for this next day. We always go to the same place and we log right in. Now, for our gentleman in the back who wants to scale up, I will say we also have scheduling built right in. And maybe for some of you who like to have really organized calendars, you can do your scheduling directly within Pencil Spaces. You can create events, and all of these events then get pushed to everybody else's external calendars. So by creating an event here, and I invite, say, Ayush as a participant, right? This will not only go to his Pencil Spaces account, but it will go to his Google calendar. It will go to his Microsoft Outlook calendar. It will go to his Mac calendar. Whatever calendar he's using, this will be automatically added. So it shows up and he gets those reminders, right? Now, one of the unique facets of Pencil Spaces is that everything inside of the space gets preserved and is durable. Now, this might not mean a lot to you now, but I simply pointed out because here in the event creation, I have the ability to select a space that already exists that I've set up previously, or to create a new space that is blank and has no content in it. When we get into the space, that's going to make a lot more sense. I just want to point that out here so that folks have it in the back of their mind when they start looking at how powerful the spaces themselves can be. With that being said, we've covered most of the administrative tools aside from the analytics. So let's just jump into the teaching experience, right? I'm going to head back to my old page. And in fact, we have a teaching experience set up, TTA 2024. I'm going to enter the space. And I can see that there's in fact a call going on already, right? So video calling is built right in. Now, I happen to be a host in this space and there are other people who are hosts. If I were a student, I would only be able to join calls. I cannot start calls. So you don't have to worry about students coming into calls or sharing that link and then having parties with their friends or whatever it is. They can't start calls. Only you as a tutor can start a call. That being said, we have other folks who are logged as tutors in this space, so they already have a call going. I'm going to join it though. Now, obviously, this will replace Zoom. I'm going to turn off the audio because otherwise we'll have this annoying echo. But this has full, video calling capabilities. So this will replace your Zoom. This will replace your Google Meet. You don't have to pay for any of those services anymore. You can cut that cost and everything comes into one centralized platform. Again, we have the scheduling. We had all of the link sharing already set up in the administrative views. So now you don't have to worry about the video calling either. We're consolidating all of these components. Now, in the event that for some reason I want to do a straight up video call and, just look at people's faces, I can do that. And we've got Imran joining us, right? He's really making the show, right? Yeah. We can do straight up video calling. We can do screen sharing. We can do all of those things that you would expect from a video calling solution, plus so much more. One of the other things that I'll mention is that we've got recording. Now, for those of you who are administrators or work with teams, I know there's a few of you, the recording can be set up centrally, right? So you can have that turned on so that every session is recorded by default. What this means is you don't have to remember to record anyone. We've got lots of organizations that use this for safeguarding purposes because they can then have every session recorded. It gets uploaded to the cloud and we can have it transcribed so that all of the audio is converted to text and you can run searches against that. So for example, if you're teaching in schools, oftentimes they'll really want to make sure that one, the students are showing up and we've got tools for that. And two, that the students aren't doing anything inappropriate. And so you can run searches on your videos to make sure that words that should not be said in a class are not being said. Additionally, we have artificial intelligence capabilities that will summarize everything that was covered in that session, turned into a one-paragraph synopsis, and sent to you with action items for what happened in that session. And so actually what I'm going to do now is I'm going to record this. I'm going to turn the mic on. But I'm just going to turn my volume all the way down so that we can't hear the echo. But at the end of this, I'm going to turn off the recording and we're going to get a synopsis of everything that was discussed today, as well as action items that came out of today's session. So this should be fun. Yes, question in the back. Already, let's jump into it, please.
So this next second zone was there with the feature 6 tables that to that note and instead of being recorded. So at the start of this one, is it been told or
Yes.
It's been done?
Correct. So because I had turned the audio off, but you didn't, there was a little ding that lets me know that I'm being recorded. And you couldn't see Imran's screen, but Imran got a little notification that said this call is now being recorded. If you stay on, you consent to the recording. And so, yes, there will be an alert for everybody that you're being recorded. Did that answer your question?
Yes, that does answer the question. Was there any feature that enables as provided one person still the so-called whistles the lesson, and they need that lesson to be able to blur the kids' faces?
Oh, yeah. Well, the faces, no. If you want to turn off a person's video so you cannot see their face, you can do that, and I will get into the participant management controls in just a moment. What I will say, though, is you can probably tell that my background is blurred on this. So we do have background blurring, and we do have virtual background. So I uploaded an image behind me. So it's something a bit more interesting than this beige wall. But I will turn off my virtual background right now, or I will turn off the blurring to just show you what that looks like. And so there you have it. Actually, it kind of looks the same, but again, it's just a flat beige wall. So the point being, though, that we do have the blurring, we do have the virtual backgrounds. We even have gesture recognition. So we have higher level capabilities when it comes to computer vision. So, for example, the computer knows, or Pencil Spaces knows if I raise my hand. It knows if I put up 2 fingers as opposed to 5 fingers. And using this technology, we can do even higher level security features such as face recognition and ensuring that the right person shows up to the right space. These are some of the higher level AI capabilities that we can leverage for folks who want to go all out and be very, very fancy.
Yeah, is the recording done directly to the cloud by default, or will you be option to record to the cloud?
Great question. So you can record both to the cloud and to your local device. Yes?
Default is what? 50 on the
We can get into the specific plans and how much storage each plan comes with at the end, or we can have a separate conversation about that. But the point being that you can have all of your video recorded by default. You can have that sent to the cloud where anybody that you deem should have access can view them at their leisure. And they'll also have access to the transcripts and all of those AI summaries that we were talking about just a moment ago. I'll also point out, while we happen to be in the video calling view, in the gallery view, we've got these nice celebrations. This is something that folks really enjoy. Not even just for younger kids, but like, can do, sorts of fun things like this, throw some confetti, have some fireworks, stars, what have you, right? Really livens up the joint. That being said, video calling is sort of a staple of the modern world, but it can be quite unengaging, right? We've all been on Zoom calls, we talk, we chat, whatever, with each other's spaces, we share screens and we zone out, right? I go off and I do something else somewhere on my computer while somebody's talking, right? So let's talk a bit about the collaboration space and how Pencil Spaces brings hands-on active learning into the classroom, whether you are in person or online. So you can, of course, use Pencil Spaces without having a video call. The real power of the system lies in these boards, right? So a lot of folks look at this and they say, oh, it's a whiteboard. We do not like to call it whiteboard because it does so much more than just that. Yes, of course, I can grab my pen and my highlighter and I can draw on top of things and what have you. But in hands-on collaborative nature of this space is what really has driven tutors and teachers to come on board, because they just believe that that experience is so much better for students. So let me ask, before we go any further, who teaches maths? Right. I don't even bother asking about other subjects because just about everybody does math. I get whoever didn't raise their hand, I would like to know, what subject do you teach? I believe you did not raise your hand, perhaps, on English. English, great. We will get to some English examples, I promise. And was there anybody else who didn't raise their hand for maths?
But I scan this current.
And maths. We're going to start with math examples because I think that will be the most relatable to this group. But we will get to you. All right, brilliant. In that case, you can see here that I've got a bunch of content on this board. This is actually French lit. We're not going to do French now. That's okay. I happen to have preloaded content into this space on multiple different boards, and we'll just jump to the maths board. How about that? So that's the first thing I'd like to point out. As I mentioned earlier, and hopefully this is beginning to make a bit more sense, all of the stuff that you do in Pencil Spaces is saved. It's durable. So I can preload content onto these boards and then come and engage with it without having to set it up right before every class. Yep. So I can set this up long in advance. I can blow these spaces. I can duplicate them. So if I have work that I'm doing over and over again with multiple students as I'm following a certain curriculum, I don't have to set it up every time. I can just copy it and have templates. And if I'm a student, I can, of course, come in and review work that was done in the past. But so we already have content loaded up onto this space. So let's have a look at what we got. Here's a little maths example with linear equations. Well, intersecting lines. I mean, they are linear equations, but we're not going to do matrices or anything like that because I don't know anything about it, except the words. So here's an intersecting lines problem. Now, to be fair, I don't know anything about this either. What I did do, though, is put a private web viewer on here that allows me to see the answers to these questions. So as you can see, when I say web viewer, what I can do is I've actually embedded Google Sheets into this board. This is not a picture. This is not a screenshot. This is not a screen share. This is an interactive website of Google Sheets. So if we come into this, I can see that we've got a missing value here for X and Y. And I don't know what the answer is, but I'm just going to ask Rod to fill them in. And so I'm going to go hands off. Don't get them wrong, eh? Or actually, maybe that's data that you need. I don't know. Whatever, it's just a demonstration. I'm not trying to be mathy here. This is not my strong suit. But the point being that I was hands off. I can have Rod manipulate the data on this spreadsheet from a distance. It's as if it's on his own computer. So let's scroll over a little bit. We'll skip this part because it's not as fun. Let's go straight to the graphing calculator. This is what I like. So here I've got this graphing calculator. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just pop in the equation of a line. This much I do know from doing this enough times. Y equals mx. Yeah, we'll skip the plus b part for the intercept. And I'll just throw in this slider here that will allow me to manipulate the slope. So for me, I can drag the slider, manipulate the slope, and see how the orientation of the line changes, right? Very cool. Graphing calculator stuff, yes? But what I really want to do is have my student have a hands-on interactive experience so that they can understand how changing the slope changes the orientation of the line. So I'm hands-off now. If Ron, my student who's either right next to me or 3,000 miles away, it's happening. That's the magic, right? Ron is having an active learning experience where he is manipulating this calculator and I can watch him do it. Now, he's a step ahead. It's almost as if we practice this. I was going to say, now that he knows how the slope works, Imran, can you input the equation of a line that would intersect with the original line? And he's done it now. Now, this is a web-based tool that both of us can use, but it is still on a, we say, whiteboard, right? So I can grab my highlighter now, and let's have a conversation about the intersection of these two lines. I can draw right on top of it. I can zoom out. I can add sticky notes. I can take my shapes, and we can draw arrows. And we can mark this up as much as we want. And again, all of this is saved, all of this is preserved. So while this is a web-based experience that normally you'd have to screen share, and when you stop screen sharing, all of that work would go away, here it's preserved in the board. When we come back next time, all of the markings, all of the work that we've done will remain in the space. So when we come back next time, we can review it. Again, if I wanted to set up a program, we could do that as well, right? So this is just one example how Pencil Spaces can be used to craft those collaborative experiences. Any questions about any of this? I know there's a lot going on, and it's quite different from how people normally do things. Yes, don't split at the back.
I feel like CBT is not the best, but I can use challenge the current writing. Do you have the ability to be able to write it, recognize, and would like font writing?
Oh my goodness. Remember that thing that I said, let's skip it because it's not quite as fun? Well, let's go back and do it then, shall we?
Yeah.
So why? Well, then we got these equations of lines, and God, that text looked lovely. Let's just see how we got that text on the board. Anybody got an equation of a line they want to throw out?
But in the words,
Y equals, okay, give me a number, any number. Somebody shout out a number. 3. Just too slow, but don't worry, you'll get your chance. 3x, right? Plus, oh, I got the x there. 3x plus, okay. What was your big number? 371. Right? And it's taking my handwriting and converting it into text. Now, what's an operation be like? Like, shout out like, the square or square root or fraction, something like this. Go, shout. Square root, what do you want to square root? All right, we're just going to square root the first term then. Here we go, square root, right? And now it's converted into a square root. Shall we put parentheses on something? Now, this is whatever, it's just a number, so I don't really need parentheses here. But I was for the square, but now I'm going to cube it. Why not? Right? Doesn't matter. Now when I click done, I just pop that right on the board. Sir, does that answer your question? Is that your card? Yeah? He's not. You can't see it because he's in the back. He's nodding, yeah? Is that a question, or you just look? He's a quick. Oh, yeah, let's hear it.
I teach at young children, primary, a lot of maths, and I saw that you guys were presenting, so I would have checked it out. Well, I've been using it for the last couple of weeks and brilliant. How delightful within nature. And people what I was asking was, do you have a specific tool that can be used for also bottom of it? This is where you're creating graphical representations of properties and student, and then they will see. I've been using yeah. I've been using that as kind of workaround, but I've only first specific one.
Yes, so, thank you. Your check is coming in the mail. That takes me to the next thing that I want to talk about, which is our app library. So here we're on the math board. Oh, well, I had something prearranged, but let's just go off the beaten path, right? It's fun to have interactive things. Let's talk about fractions. Now, in Pencil Spaces, I do have access to, my sticky notes, my shapes, my toys, but we want that collaborative, hands-on experience that we were just witnessing. So here I've got my apps menu, and I've got dozens and dozens of apps built right into Pencil integrated. Yeah. So if we want fractions, for example, we've got many tools at our disposal. Let's say we want to go to our resources. We've got built-in math manipulatives. I can go over to mathematics. I can grab my numbers and fractions. I can pop down here. No, not the numbers. What do you want? Fractions? Fraction bars, perhaps, right? So now I can pop in my fraction bar, and here's an example of that, right? And I can grab my 1/2 fraction bar, throw that on, and actually it's a little bit small, so I'll just make it so it's half of the 1, right?
Is there any ability to break up fractions to what something be?
Most is you then add it in yourself, but for the total, then add in your own card.
So we have the blocks that give you an bit like this, and the blocks look as they look, and you can move these around, and Patch 2 is move them around. So everyone move one of these things around for a minute. Yeah. But we also have the integrated web-based apps. So I'm not going to spend too much time on the resource library itself. I'm going to show you a bunch of options that you have at your disposal. So let's pop out of this and just head over to our fractions there. So here is another fractions tool integrated into the space. I just click that. It pops open now a web-based tool, which might give me some of the flexibility you're asking about. So now I can click and drag. Or actually, you know what? Well, Imran, you want to click and drag? Give me a 1, right? Good work. Can you find the third? Good work. And you see, right? So we can have this interactive hands-on. So I'm not doing anything. Normally, if I were on Zoom, I'd be screen sharing, or I'd have to have Imran screen share. And if Imran made a mistake, I'd have to say, oh, you stopped screen sharing. Now I'll screen share. And if I had more students, with every student that joined, I'd have an exponential increase in complexity of managing this experience. But here, seamless, easy. I can have 50 people in here. Just say grab, move, one after the other, go, 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 right? And if you don't believe me, I will get to the permissions in a moment that allow me to select who's doing what. But this is another option. Now, let's say that you say, oh, but Ben, I have a tool I like. I don't see the tool that I want to use. I send it to you. Okay, well, where does this tool live? Is it on the internet? Like all things, it is. So let's say that you don't see the app in the library that you want, right? Well, we've got this handy-dandy web viewer. Now, the web viewer is very nice because it has the ultimate flexibility. This is just a browser on your machine, on your space that can go anywhere on the web. So let's say I want to go to Math is Fun. I like this website. Or to say I like it is a bit of an exaggeration. But it's a website that I know about that deals with math. Now, I want to go and hands off again. This is just a random website that I put on the space. It instantly becomes collaborative. So hands off, hey Rod, find us. Do they have a fractals part? Just go to algebra, whatever. So Imran's up. Now scroll down if you would, Imran, right? So Imran's in complete control. I've set up the experience, but Imran, the student, is able to guide us through it. It can be hands-on and interactive. Now let's say for the moment that Imran's going nuts, or he doesn't know, he doesn't know exactly what to do. I can actually block him out of this, so he can no longer interact with the page, and then I can take control from him, right? And really, rates are going to do with groups. Groups, anybody? Guy right here. Okay. So for individuals, it can be a lot easier than working with groups. And for those who want to work with groups, or like the fellow in the map want to scale up and reap some additional economies of scale with 2, maybe 3 students in a single session, we do have classroom management tools. So while I can click this button and lock the space for everybody and really, take control of the situation, I also have the ability to control on a person-by-person basis exactly what they should be able to do. So whether they can turn their microphone on, their camera on, edit the board, I can have a list of all of my participants. If there are more people than Imran in this space at the moment, I would see them here, and I can toggle on and off what each person should be able to do on a person-by-person basis. We work in a lot of schools, and so they'll have classrooms of 20, 30, sometimes 40 students. And this is a really great capability for them because they're trying to manage multiple people. But if you're managing multiple people, we have other tools that you can make use of. Have, for example, full breakout rooms. Now, what's really nice about breakout rooms and Pencil Spaces is they're not just for separate calls, right? You go on Zoom and you say, I want a breakout room. What that really means is I want to have a separate video call amongst a bunch of other people on this one call. It is true in Pencil Spaces that if we go to a breakout room, we have a separate call from the other part. So if I move Ayush over to this breakout room, he can have a separate conversation. But we also have for him his own set of boards. So these are actually real rooms where you can do separate work. So not only can you have breakout rooms for group projects, you can also have rooms that contain different topics, right? So if I want my French literature in room 2, I can do that. If I want to have a separate room for history, I can do that. If I want to have a third room for another type of content, I can do that because it's going to preserve all of those boards in that room. Does that make sense? It goes way beyond just a separate video call. I see 2 hands. You first, and then you, sir.
So as a picture, Gina and there in between, say you can bring children, like 4 children, split them into 2 groups, 2 tasks, that obviously unleash you at the same call. As a teacher, you can go into one room, one into what they were doing, go into the second room, one into what they were doing separate. Again.
Precisely. And what's nice about it is all of the work that they're doing in that room gets preserved, and then you can bring all of that content back to the main room if, say, you want to share it with the rest of the class.
Great. Can you have the attractive quizzes on you set some questions at home? They basically independently do the questions, and then we go through walls a week or something if the wall is done. Well,
absolutely. So I will say that in Pencil Spaces, we have a full native question bank. So you can use it. You can use a Pencil Spaces product for that. But again, with the app library, we also have access to all of the most popular tools that are already in use. So you don't have to change your workflows or move your content anywhere. So you've got access to Nearpod, Quizzes, Quizlet. We have Google Forms. That's a popular one, right? So you have access to various different tools that you might already be using. We've already got things set up, but you can pull that into Pencil Spaces. We also have the ability for you to use our own question bank and you can add your content to Pencil Spaces. I can show you this in a moment. But that will allow you to then bring questions directly in from your Pencil Spaces account to an interactive teaching experience. Yes, question?
I tend to with Pencil Spaces because I'm doing that. Spending a lot of time uploading some notes of the text onto my computer. I started the next one. I pressed the upload button.
Yes.
So they said, my material which I uploaded did not state them to paste, and they couldn't let it.
Good enough. Bit. Let's see. I have. Let's see. I'll go find the. Maybe like it was just too big a file.
It was too big to upload on voice Pencil Spaces.
Hey, Robert, actually, the limitations better than I. What is the maximum file size? 10 megabytes. 10 megabytes. That is gigantic, though, for a document.
Well, if it's certainly they do some
10 pages of paper. I will say.
as a bit then so my listeners to start.
I'm very sorry to hear that.
So in the end I had to go around to look at people in dirty, and I was fancy that's how good.
Yes, I will say that in an event where something like that happens, you can certainly use the screen sharing feature to share what's on your computer. But I will also just note that I do a fairly long document on this stage, and I think it all depends on how well compressed it is, because the Constitution, forgive me for being so America-centric, I happen to be from New York, so I could have put the Magna Carta, I suppose. But this is fairly long.
But I just
So there can be some things to do in the nature of PDF itself. If it was a scanned PDF, for people who are sent pictures, then the size of those documents can be really large, even though the document is principal, which can mean that it will kind of push past our pilot under.
Well, it was a scanned document. I scanned.
Right.
It was my computer, and I'm not trying editing.
So one of the things that we can work on together, if you just send me a quick email, I can show you how to compress that too.
So
There you have it. That's why we need these, so you can come at us in person. Question here, and then you got a bunch of questions. So I saw your hand first, then yours, and then you. Right.
So I did a lot of exam preparation. Well, 10 then rules. So I bought, and yeah. Something I've always struggled with online learning is seeing children's work, as well as I would if I was seeing this.
Yeah.
And so what I was really looking for their spaces, you might have seen an email from me now, we used to ask this feature, it's can they use their iPad, take a picture of their work and send us straight as when I voice ways. So I just is that speechless.
So yes, you absolutely can.
Because your 10th person said you could do that with a browser-based device, but not with an app-based device. Yeah, so you would have on the iPad, but you can take the image from your camera from an iPad device and then upload it. So the student will be able to throw also far away, and then they just can't, but they lack instant access to the device yet, for sure.
It's just like this. So I can have any image on my laptop or on my phone, for example. I can log into the browser-based space using Chrome on my iPad, and then I just click the upload button, and I can grab any image from my hard drive, and then that goes right on. So if I just took that picture, it will show up just in my recent files. I just drop that on the board.
And so I need to tell my clients that instead of don't use the app, but to use the browser space. You can use the app as well, they'll both work. But that was so that it's just they'll get it for that. It's just a process like up to Paul and iOS. I'll just hope I can make you the area. I think like my selling size for the Pencil Space. One space for one mess.
The boards themselves are infinite. So you can have an infinite number of boards, but each board is also unlimited in space.
Okay, so I need to think if, for example, twin call me way, take the best and realize what good. And they will maximally create by bay. But think if you have to go to crowd to get on my one.
Yes.
So they'll think you get one lesson, and you say 1 in 3 board lessons Sunday, and it will basically go through these dollar.
Yeah, we have lots of people who will do something like this. They'll have, they'll take like a shape and they'll do a square here and they'll put a bunch of websites and documents in that one thing. Then they'll take this here, they'll do like an arrow, right? And then they'll just be like, go from here to here. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Complete all of these steps, and you're golden.
I mean, each of those stores may expect that you not a whole series of play course.
Yeah, the certain.
You see, man.
So here I've got, we might say sort of a work mat that I've created in this space. Now I've just opened up this Google here. I'll pop it in the upper corner, right? So this will be like the first item in this experience. And then I can just go to YouTube and I can embed whatever I want. So let's say I want to go to youtube.com/pencil spaces. And I can make the very first thing or very first activity in our learning experience, watch this video about analytics in pencil spaces. And then they can play that directly in the space. And if there were audio, right, they would play for everybody. And actually, I'll turn that audio off here. And Imran, you want to turn your audio on? Yes. So if Imran turns his audio on, what we'll hear now is I'm going to press play, and it's going to sync across. Well, you premise on strict one of the beat here, being through the space, doesn't mean, right? So this will synchronize, you do now. This will synchronize the video playing across our devices, regardless of how far away we are. So it's like we're watching this video together.
Does it affect the integrity of the videos well with us? Like in think of it, you can't handle you find your content downloaded, but do you protect that? The protection when?
Yes, there's effectively no way to download any content that's put on this board. So if I put a PDF on this board, students cannot download that PDF. If I put a video on this board, they cannot download that video. If I draw on this board and put a bunch of notes, they can't download that content and then share it or what have you. So no, I know people like, Course Hero. Oh, my content's on Course Hero now. It's like, it's not going to happen if you use Pencil Spaces.
And the carrying content.
What's that?
And the field content.
No. They cannot, they can, there are limitations to what you can disallow. They can, use the browser function to print screen. They can take a screenshot. They can record from their own device, right? There's limitations insofar as hardware. They can, of course, take a photo on their phone of their screen, but they can't download anything, so nothing will look, pristine and nice. They can't steal content effectively. And then you had a question as well, right?
Yeah. I'm just wondering, for example, if I subscribe an account, because I'm running a tuition company, and I have different tutors to teach quite often at the same time.
Yes.
For example, Monday, 7 o'clock, I have each tutor, mathematics tutor, science tutor, but they teach at the same time. But is it possible I have different classes?
Absolutely. So I will pop out of this space for just a moment to show how that works again, So if I leave this space, again, I can see all of the spaces to which I have access. As an administrator, I can see everything in my institution. So I have a lot of spaces. But you can actually see right here that there's multiple spaces that are active right now with video calls occurring. So we have our TTA 2024 space, which we were just in together. And I can tell there's a video call going on with 2 people. We also have our 24/7 support desk. So anybody who's just thinking about using Pencil Spaces, 24/7 support, live support, real people that you can talk to, and that will answer your questions. And we can see that there's 3 support agents, in that space right now, waiting for, 2 now, I suppose. One must be off shift. But I can see that in real time, right? There were 3. One of them just went on, off shift because there's usually supposed to be 2. They're in a video call right now. I see these other spaces are inactive, right? So I can actually get an overview of everything that's happening in terms of multiple sessions at the same time. I can see everything that's occurring, and get an overview of activity. And multiple spaces, yes, can be active, and you can have an unlimited number of active spaces simultaneously. Does that answer your question? Excellent. Yes.
Question, can you then track remotely who's watched the space and all it's supposed to do? Middle work. So if you can be able to, you've got content then, and you will check the map sheet, you got it.
Yes.
So in particular, you can see complete week.
Yes. This is brilliant. I'm going to show you exactly how that could be done in Pencil Spaces. We're not paying that guy either, just so you know. I'm going to pop into this space, and let's talk about analytics for a moment. So once I get to the space, I'll show you two different things. First, not to your question in particular, but a general interest. We're automatically tracking attendance for you. So insofar as you care about, particularly if you're an administrator, don't. I think my Wi-Fi just cut out. Yeah. All right, there we go. If you're an administrator, oh no, I'm almost at I've got enough power, I think, for the rest of this. If you're an administrator and you don't want to be stuck asking everybody, did this student show up? Or can you take attendance? We've got attendance being logged, and I'm in an attendance tab. And in fact, I can see right here, everybody was late to this class. But that's because I had set this event to start early this morning, just, because I created this event. And then we all showed up, at the TTA event and logged in. But I have the ability to modify this, right? I can set everybody as present. I can set them as late, or I can set them as absent or excused. And I can also add notes on this attendance, and then that'll be recorded and preserved, and I can go back and I can review what everybody's participation was like in this session. Particularly to your point, I also have more metrics at my disposal. So I can come in here, and let's look at this previous session, for example. I can see the time that somebody joined, the time that somebody left, how much time they spent on a video call, how much time they spent in a space, but then clicked to another tab or another window. So as we were just saying at the very beginning of this, if you're on a Zoom call, so many times somebody's sharing their screen, they're having a chat with you, and really what the student is doing is they're surfing the web somewhere else, or they'll be at another application. If you open up another application, space duration in background is going to start going down. So if I clicked over to a PDF, or I clicked over to another website, this number is going to be not at A. Yeah? So it allows me to track that attention. And because all of my websites, all of my documents, all of my materials are in this space, that allows me then to be confident that that metric is meeting. Yeah? We've also got things like speaking time. Of course, speaking time here is basically zero because we're all muted, super traffic code. But I have all of these engagement metrics. And so to your question, I can tell if a student came in while I wasn't there. I can tell how much time they spent in that space and make sure that they're doing their work. And then, of course, I can go to that board and see the work that they've done. So that allows me to keep very close tabs on what the students are doing. And I'll also mention we have a full API. So you can do all sorts of customizations by pulling out this data. So if you want alerts every time a student goes into a space and works by themselves for more than 5 minutes or more than 10 minutes, you can set up those alerts. You can also integrate this with Tutor Cruncher. We have a Tutor Cruncher integration. And using the API, you can integrate it with any other system that you were using. So if, for example, you wanted that attendance data to go from Pencil Spaces to another system, maybe you are tracking, we've got a lot of people who, they take payments and then they track the credits. So I buy a certain number of hours, and I've got a system that's tracking the hours. If I want to take the data from Pencil Spaces about exactly how many hours somebody has used, or down to the minute, down to the second, how many seconds somebody has spent on a live video call in Pencil Spaces, then subtract that, I can use that as well. Question, yes.
I mean, where is it? I love highway intention center. The second part of says, I don't know if they send it.
Yeah.
Or do you, that relay is up to there? How's accessing even and into hard walls, the place of base students, I do all the students.
Oh, I guess, yes.
If that's something with best, is that new?
Yeah, for hybrid, absolutely.
Yeah.
People really enjoy Pencil Spaces for hybrid because it doesn't privilege one type of student over another. As long as I put it on the board, everybody can access it from a device equally well. So, for example, if we look at this Google document, right? If I'm in person, usually what would happen is the people who are in person have more interactivity than the people who are remote. Because people who are remote are watching a screen share, or they're watching some sort of video stream. But in Pencil Spaces, I can be in person, typing on this Google Doc, and the remote or student can also be in this Pencil Spaces, typing on this Google Doc.
And so the student typing it who wants to stay global, meaning up to.
Yes. Exactly right. That is exactly how I can use the schools for people who are sick, or if there's like I don't know if you have this here, but snow days,
Yeah.
right? You can't go to school. It's very easy to transition from in-person to online and then back again.
I'm one last question you become married from a child's perspective. How long does it take before we have to familiar and singing?
That is an excellent question. In reality, it is very, very easy for children to learn puzzle spaces because I've shown you so much functionality. They have access to almost none of it, right? You are really in control. They're not opening websites. They're not picking which apps to use. You are controlling their experience. All they have to know how to do is click and drag fraction bars, type in a Google Doc, right? Turn on their video. It's nothing that they haven't done already. And it's nothing that is particularly outside the realm of understanding, right? So for students, it is extremely simple to get started with puzzle spaces. And even for tutors, even though I've shown you a lot, most people only use for their particular subject, 3 or 4 tools regularly. And so for tutors, it's also relatively simple to pick up.
The funny thing that we find is, given how tech-savvy students are these days, students tend to have an easier time getting started than
Yeah.
He had started, they did it up and it's comprehension. And it is a board. Can refuse the highlight that the hours on it.
Absolutely. Let me
They
just,
have access to it.
I'll just jump to an example.
They don't have to click a button like in Zoom. You can make more sharing screen or something like that. They got immediate access to the
Correct.
system highlights.
So
they need put up a document
there he is.
and they can do that.
Yes. So, Imran, why don't you just circle Section 3 of the United States Constitution? It's over there. There it is. Exactly right.
Yeah.
Now, I do want to just...
But also, like, they can noise well, right?
Yeah. Imran, stop. Show us what you got.
It's for me more visual, we from the outside.
Hop on a sticky note, why don't you? And type some stuff there.
But it's what just what this is. Can they?
So they have access to all of these things that I have in my toolbar here.
Yeah.
They can type text, they can add sticky notes, they can annotate and add shapes. Now, before I answer any more questions, I do want to just note that we are now over time. So if there were other things that people wanted to do, hopefully not, they will go do those things now, and I won't stop you. However, I will remain here to answer questions, and we'll also be in the hall. Now, I'm happy to continue, so please carry on. Yes, you have not asked a question before. I'd love to hear you.
So, right at the beginning, you were saying about how coming from a calendar or something. I'm like, I generally teach younger children. I also teach children who have difficulties.
Yeah.
And so, thinking it of their own email, I was if ever have a child's email.
Of course.
I remember something. It's they got to log in through a Google account that each time. Now I actually don't have and like shouldn't have in those account. Yeah. So how do I do it for them to be get in?
Yeah.
If it's a parent, it's going to a parent's email, but then they're on another device.
Yep.
How does that work?
Yeah, great question. Excellent question, in fact. Really important. So if I go to puzzlespaces.com and I click the login button, which is how a student would enter Puzzle Spaces, I have many options for logging in. I can continue with Google if I have a Google account. I can also log in with other authenticators that I might have access to. Facebook, Microsoft, Clever is a standard. I actually don't know if it's in the UK, but in the US it's a standard that schools use. And then PlassLink is another standard. I can always then log in with a combination of an email and a password. So if I'm a student who's using their parents' email, I can use that email, and then I have a separate password to log in.
It's not that the parents' email login password.
Exactly.
Okay. So once this happened once, hopefully parents will how to do it, and the children would be able to remember. To remember.
It remembers them. Okay, so it's just a one-time thing.
Okay.
Is there another session in this room? Is that what's happening? Are you
No down. Well, the stroke is 10:40.
Up to 10:40. Is it? Oh, we've got more time. I misspoke. I thought.
Sorry about that. As well.
And I think, could we just go with the caregivers? I may have spoken with student the good log in. She knows since she actually has an email account.
Yeah.
So she can log in some kind of email account.
And if I click on it, it comes on a dealer account. Is that correct? Right. But and she's in Pennsylvania.
Yes. So you just log to the email, and then it will just bring right into the space.
It says I click on that link and it's not the numbers of space. You did. I click on that and it comes up on that other buildings. Right.
I'm sorry. So she
No, it's if you go back to where you have called people's name.
Oh, did he? What? Yeah. In here. Let me go. Oh, there we go. Do you mean here?
Yeah.
When invited people.
Yes.
Yes.
No, that one. Where the thing gets on, where the sewer and so. And the thing called bonuses.
Is it? Let me ask you.
That way.
It's right here.
So the sort of name is that. That's Andrew method she calls them to go to the house. Then how did she get to me?
How does she get to you? Okay, great question.
So I click on the name there.
Yeah.
It's she find me.
So when she logs into Pencil Spaces, you will have shared a space with her. So for example, we'll go to like Ben here. So I've got a Ben space, right?
Yeah.
I mean, already said my name in it, but basically, we'll take it all the way from the top. We'll go right to the beginning. So when I first log in as a tutor, and I want to create a space for a student, I will log in. I will create a space.
Just space.
Yes,
It's the way for the top.
I understand.
Yeah.
I'll just go through it step by step, and then it will be able to do that. So here, what's your name?
Yeah.
Stephanie. So this will be the Stephanie embed space. Stephanie embed, right?
Yes.
So now I've created this space. What I will do now is I will invite Stephanie by email. So I would put your email here. I would do the invitation, and then Stephanie would have access to the space. I can make the space public, so anybody with the link could join, or I could make it private, and only somebody with Stephanie's email would be able to join. Now, when I go back and log into Pencil Spaces, if I'm Stephanie and I'm only working with one tutor, in this case, myself, Ben, I will only see this one space. All these other spaces they won't exist for her, right? So Stephanie will come, log into Pencil Spaces, and have only this one link available to her. That's exactly right. She clicks enter space, and then she is in your teaching room.
Or she takes this deep flow.
She clicks it into.
I think it's she just thinks so.
I think there's anybody about how much in this. Oh, that's. I'll just make this be true. We've got power situation all over the place. In fact, is there energy? Maybe sound that. Yes. Or like go. Oh, hooray! It's a teamwork. This is why we send two people. Send two people after, right? Super. Well, I've been successful. Nice. You got to HDMI too. Take me back. Here we are. Okay. So that is how Stephanie or how you would get it. They'd have only access to the one space that they see. They click enter. Bob's your uncle. They're in the teaching environment.
So I'll try and hear the words.
If you have any trouble at all, you can contact me.
But the most of this trouble just it doesn't this day to work. It's I should find.
Well, I will say that we spend a lot of time, and everyone can attest to this because he's actually head of product. This is a very important fellow right here. But we spend a lot of time working on the mantra, just works. So if you have any hesitations whatsoever and you worry that something's going to work, please contact us.
I just worry all days is work. And it's just that I really touch
We are here to ensure that you feel that it is a reliable system. So please do contact us. We can do practice sessions with you. We can walk you through whatever it is you need to know. But please feel free to reach out.
Could I call you as give me a little time?
Yes. Absolutely. That's how we think. So what you can do is just contact help
and just be asked to join our 24/7 support desk, and then you get to go work to one of the one of.
But we can go through the details afterwards. But the important thing to know is we take customer service extremely seriously. That's the most important feature of our product. We have 24/7 human support for all of our users. And I'm happy to go into exactly how you can access that, but just want to make sure we get to everybody's questions.
I guess was that can I not what I've used?
Yes, and I will go into that in just a moment, but I do want to give another person an opportunity to ask a question, and then I'll come back to your question right at the end. Greg, please. So we're not paying.
Two questions, if that's all right. So about user-friendliness, usability, absolutely agree that the kids rub rings around us and base what they're doing. But often the parents and the kids, and I don't, tonight exists already. What it would be super helpful to have though with the videos, I can send to parents, and they do like 6, 8, 10-minute video to say, this is basically, this is what we're out, this is what we've been, so this is what we've been, anything else a child's used, this is why your child's going to have a fantastic experience with a shooter. Because a lot of parents will have to see younger children with helmet and stuff. And so if they've had a bit of training with the products, at least it won't be stressful. They will be stressed that they're wasting session time. Right. So that would be really helpful, as I said now, because the kind of stuff I've got 40 times applying, so I'm very small, but that is the thing at the moment what's stopping me from moving everyone en masse over to answer spaces is right green patterns.
Just so you just put something for you be share up because that one done just reviewing stuff.
Yeah, and now there's a child-friendly one as well for like really young children with citizen-builds. Team through me, that's more of a cost trick for saying this is basis the main select that it does. Really you see in the background. That'll be super helpful.
Right, the music in the back.
Yeah, make sure you're gonna have that. Well, one more question about
so maybe something like this.
The bit. Yeah, as I said, I haven't looked yet. It's just
I'll pop it over to you.
So we do a lot of videos that you could send videos and tutorials and whatnot. I mean, one thing that we try to work on though is actually something we share as a public server that we want to build improvements.
But youtube.com/pencil spaces have lots of video resources, and I will send that particular one to you for your approval.
Thank you. It's
my pleasure.
One more question, if that's all right.
Just the one.
I was using it for the first time in a session the other day, and it was reading. The only thing that struck me was it was seamless. It's revolutionary. You can send me a shit later. The only thing was I was using all of the apps and using the native writing fonts inside the app. So I was using it with my pen.
Yeah.
And I feel like it was either me getting confused or platform getting confused, I'm not sure. But it got really confused with having the writing from the platform behind the app.
Right.
And then the in-app writing, it's like multi-services.
Yes, there's a way to manage that. The challenge there is that when the app is selected, so if you have a little blue wire at the top, we bring the app in front so you have the full ability to the buttons. Yeah, so your droids might actually go behind you. In order to just stop that, you shouldn't just select outside of the droids.
So the answer, so anything as long as the app's deselected, just a drawing by like instant.
Right, so an example of this is here. I'm drawing on top of this, right? I select the app. This bar turns blue.
Yeah.
Everything is behind it. That's because these apps are obviously interactive. They've got buttons. You don't want to have, lose functionality because you've accidentally drawn over it. When I click off of it now, the drawing comes to the front again.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, Stephanie, you had another question.
Well, it's this year, after in Europe. But do you have resources for that at age the I could
Certainly. So in this app menu over here, so on the lower left, in this apps button, we have, of course, all of the apps in here. Many of them are for, specific subjects. So if I look up math, I get a bunch of different math and apps in particular. If I look up literacy, I get a bunch of literacy-based content. And then we also have a special resource called the Resource Library. And this has standardized materials in it, which are not interactive apps. They're not web-based apps, but they are things like, protractors and what have you that I might put on top of other things. So here's a protractor that I brought onto the board, and now we can layer that on top of maybe this, and I can say, what is the angle of, no idea, but what is the angle, right? Right. So these, those are some of the tools you can use. And again, if you don't see the tool that you want, but you know it exists somewhere on the internet, as almost everything does, you can open up the web viewer and access that tool simply by going to the website.
Do you have collating sticks that these are information by this woman? So,
Good question. We do not provide content, but if you happen to have that content on the web, you can access it again with the web viewer. If you have it as PDFs, you can upload it.
yes, that's right. I with wings then.
Right. So we can help you compress those files and still fit.
So if you just contact support or send me an email, we can see what we can do to the file size, just make it. But
there is also a full question library inside of Nuts of Spaces where you can extract the questions from those papers and digitize them, and we can help you do that. And then you will have a digital version of those questions that you can pull into Nuts of Spaces.
Sort of maybe the answers, and I didn't show people this out.
Yes.
So I had, so where can you conceal those so people don't see them more?
In fact, I will jump into another account just for a moment that has access to the question library that I'm talking about. And here's the login process of Nuts of Spaces if people are unaware. If I can remember my password, that'd be great. And now, of course, Google will ask me, are you sure you want to log in? The answer is yes. There we go. So now I will pop into this other account. The fact I have to go over here and be somebody else, which is Ben at learninglab.com. So exactly to your question, here is a course that's been loaded in Nuts of Spaces. Again, we don't provide the content, but we provide the house for the content. If I click into here, I can go to my question library. This allows me to filter through questions based on metadata, data, whatever you say. Let's say I want the multiple choice questions that have to deal with geometry and geometric measurement. What the deuce? Oh, there we go. So now I've got all of these questions. I can click these together to create a set or a worksheet. I'll add these to a set. We'll call it, a TTA set. Right? That's saved, and now I can pop over to my sets.
are these pre-uploaded or are they at max speeds?
So this is just demo content.
Yeah.
We do not provide content to say, but it allows you to upload your own content and then create these worksheets out of it. Now, the thing that I really want to point out here is that when you upload your content, if I click the if I go back to the questions and I click create question, let's say I'm creating a multiple choice question and we'll just do something simple like 1 + 1. I then will add all of the potential answers. It is 1, it is 2, it is 3, it is 4. I can add an explanation of why 2 is the correct answer. I can select that 2 is the correct answer. But most importantly, when I go to next, I can then classify it in my schema of topics, which is set by you. We don't dictate this. I can then add metadata about the question, such as what grade level it's for, the difficulty, and then I can also specify whether it came from a past exam. So I can go very, very granularly on this. What day of what year was that exam paper given? What type of exam was it? Which paper was it of the exam? What question number was it? And in this manner, I can extract all of the information from an exam, all those questions, and then recreate that exam in high fidelity in pencil spaces, but also have the ability to craft new combinations of those questions for specific students so they have a tailored experience. So if I want a paper, I want to create a new paper out of old exam questions for a student that's all difficult maths problems or all difficult history problems, I can do that, right? But that is sort of how we can help you upload your content into pencil spaces, and then you will have access to whatever correct answer or explanation you've put in there. And so, for example, now if I go to home and I go into this space here, I can go grab that TTA set. Let me go to a fresh board. I can come in here. I can go to my apps, grab my question library, bingo, bango. I can pull it at any individual, but I can do a full search, find all my questions, what have you. Head over to the sets, grab my TTA set, import it, and now my questions come into the space. I'll just move this out. Boom, boom, boom. And now students can answer these questions and I can check the answer myself.
Well, yeah, I did say that I did full day way, but the next child will react particularly to me to I do that with that to its interests. Let's not have a schedule run on the versions because that's with it now.
Well, we can definitely, provide that support that we were talking about before. We are obviously very hands-on.
I'm saying, I think it's great how blessed. How can we get quick to mention what we did that and other things that
I see. So really what the student would experience is just this part. We're in a space together. There you're like, I'm going to give you a question. You open up your question library and you either go over to the sets, which are basically worksheets, preset combinations of questions, or you just pull in whichever question you want using these filters. But the student only sees these questions pop up. They don't see any of that setup. Yes, of course.
And the other thing you can do is also pre-prepare or space. Yes, content, and then just simply clone the space when you need to.
Yeah,
So then they can
typically the we have Stephen also with it was Stephen is a can bakers here then saver.
Yes. No, totally understood. I mean,
The technology looking into that ties it in there for
yes. Well, that is why, as everyone mentioned, you can set up spaces in advance as templates and then duplicate them. So you can have all of these things, just as I did here, right? All of this stuff I had already made months ago, and I just made a copy of it for TTA, and I got like 7 boards with content on them, and it took me 0 time, and all you see is that, hey, there's a bunch of boards with fun things to do.
don't you see that in a little cool and then you just
Exactly. That's encoding. Yeah. So you can this video is playing now, so let me just pause that. What was I about to say? Oh yes, so you could have your exam papers preloaded onto the board, and then the students could work through that. You would have to do, no setup time. It would be instantaneous as far as they're concerned.
And to your point around how do I apply content from the students or have it on for something, I mean, there are multiple ways you can do that. So one is you can actually apply the boards that are only visible to you. And in that way, you can put all the answers for all the questions that you think you have there, and then just quickly refer to the board to go back. And students will not be able to stay helping. And just like,
yes.
and
It's quite credible. If you've got any way to do, it's the diz. It can't do now.
yeah, exactly. So you could just set up the site. Boards have all the answers there in whatever format, but you will then refer to it during your session. You make them. Yeah, for you actually stream.
How do you call the guys?
Can you what?
Record.
Yeah, record.
Record. Yes, absolutely. In fact, we were just recording this lesson a moment ago. And when I left the space, it had stopped that recording. So let me show you. Let's see if we go back to the analytics. There should be a playback here. Oh, no, not yet. So maybe it's on this one? No. Maybe I'm in a different space, actually. And I recorded the wrong space. Possible. But yes, you can record sessions. And actually what we'll do is I'll just start recording right now, and then, that'll show you. Nothing. Oh, is it? You want to do that? That's it. Yes, question of here.
Yoga students have very good adults, obviously, and very poor working memory. And so something that would be super helpful, if possible, would be to be able to resize the window so that you have minimal scrolling between different apps. Yes, that was for sure. In your way to resize those nurses and will make it still that way.
It depends on, so of course I can resize my own browser window.
I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah. Right. So I like everything to be the same size, but yeah, I could just,
You just Adobe bit more that you should do that as well.
the PDF you mean?
Yeah.
PDFs do resize.
Okay. No.
EDFs don't resize. They don't really type. But you can resize.
Okay.
The resizing of the PDF, we tried that, but then decided crashing and use it. Which is why we stopped seeing this.
The very best reason. It doesn't work. But yes, yes, question.
Okay, just a quick question. I'm sure the answer is yes, but can we change the layers? Whereas
Yeah, absolutely. So here we go. I will, in fact, let me make this I'll grab a shape. I'll do this. I'll make the shape a solid color. Now I will take another shape and I will draw on top of that. And I will make that a solid color. And then I'll put them on top, right? Whoops, wrong button, select, right? And now I have this layer tool, so boom.
because I make a lot of matching cards.
Yeah.
I've got questions, answers, lots of high gamify everything.
Right.
So I'm really looking forward to using pencil spaces rather than bit paper, which I've used religiously every day for like 4 years. But with that, I have to make sure I make the cards in the correct order.
Oh, you can't relayer.
No, you can't. So I was looking forward to hearing that I can make it any order and relayer.
I could also do this with images. So
Yeah,
They're blind.
yeah.
this will work with images as well. So if I put an image on top of this, I can put the objects behind or front. That is,
That's right.
yeah.
Sorry, idiot. You again, and you get. On top of that next question as well, is it possible to have animations on the object searching to disappear, going to fly out, get to reveal answers, stuff like that?
Well, click to reveal answers, yes. So if you're using the built-in question bank, right, I do have the click to reveal answers, but there's not an animation functionality like you might have in PowerPoint or QuickTime, not time, Flash.
Finding something my fault, but I'm being slightly high priors.
Sure. And circle. All of my.
That's what we're here for, to ask all the money to possibly come up with.
No, it's great. So I've got 9 years worth of art books.
Oh, wow, yeah.
So that's my go-to for less I've really had a book in the past.
Yes.
I imagine they're probably very difficult to work with because they're so big. It is into the rating portion of things of the book.
Oh, it's like import your content dismiss.
Yeah, they have a really bad web browser version, so the bucks has used that. Is that anything in pipeline integrating with Smart Notebook?
That is that's a desktop app, or it's
Yeah, it's in desktop. Yeah.
So there is, I don't actually know, you'd have to get your files in there. There is on the roadmap, but not for the near term. Like it's a little bit out. I do want to know how much farther. But to support desktop apps in spaces in addition to web apps.
Yeah.
That's but yes.
If you share a couple of, if you're open to it, if you could share a couple of this one, no, but it's from that speed with, but not to just understand what's there, and then maybe you can see what we could do. So one of the things that we could potentially do is actually work with more about this to do about that in the best spaces they do stuff and so that you can just do that.
I mean, for your side, I know that a lot of teachers have done that whole careers, or most of their careers went in Smart Notebooks. So yeah, it's something you could integrate to it.
Yeah, good. And well, then
More questions? Yeah. Okay. I will now, you've logged out, right? So that I show the reporting. And So recordings then just show up here. Boop, go to playback. Here's the video. Let's view it. Right? And this is us chatting because only the two of us were on the video call, obviously. Right? This will play back. And then here I can grab the transcription, although you might recall that we were muted for most of this. So it'll be very limited sound pickup. In fact, there's none because there was no sound, so there's no transcription. Well, on the bullets. There's not because we muted. Yeah, because we didn't want the echo. So if there had been audio pickup, there would be a button here for transcription, which would have all of the text, and then we could search for phrases that were said. We could jump to that front video, all of that good stuff.
The same thing, that always not the store, or only all of that is just the two video feeds.
Yes.
That's not all the scope and normal boards.
Right, but I could have captured what's on the board by sharing my stream, which creates a video feed of the board. And so it is possible to add that component to your recording if you want. Any other questions? Else, well, actually, I guess we're just at 10:50 now, which I believe is the proper end time of this time. I incorrectly called, but I'm grateful that you all stuck around. Surely. We will be upstairs if anybody's interested in learning more. pencilspaces.com. If you want to reach me, I'm simply ben@pencilspaces.com. Shoot me an email. If you've got cards, I would love to keep in touch. Do drop them off. I'll be here to receive. Thanks for coming. Appreciate it very much.
Ding ding.